this is Cathy Cassidy. I'm here again to read you another chapter of Scarlet, and today it is the very last chapter. But don't panic, because I would really like you, if you can, just to tune in tomorrow as well, because I've got my last batch of shout outs and a few little extras and a few kind of challenges for you too. So it's just a short video tomorrow, but I hope you're gonna like it. And today it's been raining all day, so I'm kind of sitting outside because I thought it would be just nice to do today's video outside, where I can smell mint and see the wild strawberries growing on the other side of the garden. Yeah, I haven't got a hazel tree. Well, I have actually. There's two little short hazel tree hazel bushes. They are more, they're not quite tall enough yet, but they will be beautiful trees one day, and one day I will be tying red rags onto them and turning them into wishing trees. So yeah, but because it's been raining all day, I've kind of got my umbrella up, and it's not my usual umbrella. If I just move it a little bit, you will see it's probably not going to be that good if we do have a downpour. But it is very, very beautiful, and it's also very old. And if I take it down, you can just see how pretty. And the reason, I think maybe I'll be okay without it, but anyway, just in case. This umbrella was sent to me at the very start of lockdown by my lovely friend Jessie, who lives near Oban. Who'd been doing some clearing out in the house where she and her mum live, and she'd found this, which must have belonged to someone long ago, and she knew that I love to rescue old vintage things, so even though it's got a big rip in it, it's got a good home with me now. So I'll be putting that up if it starts to rain on me, but so far so good. Chapter 32 is a long chapter, but it ties up all of those loose ends, I hope. So snuggle down. Make sure you've got your hot drink or your cold drink or your blanket or whatever it is, and yeah, listen up, and please remember to tune in tomorrow so I can say goodbye to you properly. When I get back to the cottage, Mum is in the garden in a borrowed kimono wrap, collecting eggs from underneath the rose bushes. She's bare-legged, but wearing her trademark spike heels, which keep sinking into the grass and giving her a lopsided, slightly unsteady look. Her long hair is loose and uncombed, and she's singing to herself as she drifts about the garden. My mum never sings. She looks up and stops in her tracks, smiling softly, as though she hasn't seen me for a long, long time. Apart from last night, I guess she hasn't. "Scarlett," she says, "your dad rang. The baby's had a good night and the doctors have taken her off the ventilator." "That's great news, isn't it?" "She's okay," I gasp. "She's out of special care?" "She's fine," Mum confirms. "I think they'll keep her in special care for a while, just to be on the safe side. But she is out of danger." What a relief! I never thought Mum would care. "Poor Claire," she says. "Poor Chris. If anything had happened to that baby." She slips an arm around my shoulders and we go inside, and I want to shout and sing and dance with relief, because my new baby sister is going to be okay after all. I start with the shouting. "Holly," I yell. "Holly, wake up. The baby's out of danger. Everything's going to be fine." Holly pads down the stairs, bleary-eyed, still wearing yesterday's crumpled clothes. I take her hands and waltz her around the kitchen until she's wide awake and laughing, and we flop down at the kitchen table just as Mum sets down plates of scrambled eggs, baked beans, grilled mushrooms and tomatoes. It's actually veggie. For once my Mum is paying attention. She hacks into one of Claire's granary loaves, producing a mound of crumbling brown bricks. She butters one and takes a bite. "Ugh," she groans. "What is that anyway? Wholemeal sawdust? Give me ciabatta any day." Just when I'm starting to think my mum has taken a crash course in full-on Earth Mother, knit your own lentils, sweetness and light, she comes over all snooty. City girl. I guess I kind of like her like that. Mum stays on at the cottage for a fortnight while Dad and Claire camp out at the hospital, waiting for the moment the doctors will declare my new baby sister is well enough to come home. Mum doesn't moan about missing work, she just calls in and says that it's an emergency and that she's owed a whole raft of holidays anyhow, might as well take them now. She helps Holly and me to decorate the sky blue bedroom with sparkly stars and a crescent moon painted in silver acrylic paint. We paint a wide-arching rainbow that stretches from one corner of the room to another. When my new baby sister wakes up and looks up from her cot, she'll see stars to wish on, a moon to soothe her to sleep, a slice of rainbow to remind her that magic is always just around the corner. I move my bed into Holly's room and hey, it's not so bad, seriously. We finished the cot quilt too, Mum and Holly and me. We had a border of red patches round Claire's quilt, a jigsaw of scarlet, crimson and bright vermilion red, snipped from the remaining dresses in the attic. We all take turns at patching the pieces together, stitching them down, decorating the joins with zigzag or chain stitch or French knots in bright contrasting threads. I've stitched my love into that quilt, my hopes and dreams for my new baby sister. We take it along to the hospital and give it to Claire, who hugs us all, even Mum, and puts the quilt at the end of the baby's incubator. My new baby sister kicks her legs and opens her eyes wide, and when I put my hand in through the porthole in the side of the plastic cot, she takes my finger in her tiny fist and squeezes, and I know that she loves me, and guess what? I love her back. Now, always, forever. No questions asked. Claire sits in a comfy chair in the visitors' room beside the special care unit, watching the baby through the glass partition and leafing through a book on names. I'd like a Gaelic name, Claire muses. The trouble is there are so many lovely ones and it's hard to know which one's right. Aisling, Dad offers. It means dream, vision, inspiration. That would fit. Or Attain, Holly says. That means shining one. What do you think? Claire frowns. I'm not sure, she says. What about Kira? Small and dark, that means. I take the book from Claire, scanning the page until I find what I'm looking for. I read it and my eyes mist over. Got one, Scarlett? Dad asks, but I shake my head. The name I found is not for my baby sister. It's Kian, and it means ancient, enduring, magical. Claire gets up and wanders over to the glass partition. Maybe an old Irish name's too grand, too fancy for such a little girl, she muses. Maybe we're looking in the wrong place. She reaches out to touch the vase of flowers on the wide windowsill, gathered fresh this afternoon from the cottage garden. Her fingers trace the velvet petals of deep pink roses, raggedy Shasta daisies, tall, pale, regal lilies. At the back, for foliage and for look, are a few branches of hazel from the wishing tree, with soft green leaves and tiny budding nuts clustered in groups of 3. Hazel, Claire says slowly. I think her name is Hazel. My heart thumps. Hazel, Dad repeats. Hazel, Holly and Scarlett. Yes, it feels right somehow. I like it. And after 2 weeks in the hospital, my baby sister Hazel comes home. She lies in her cot and twists her beautiful cot quilt between her fists and gazes at the stars and the moon and the rainbow up above her. Overnight, the cottage smells of baby powder and wet wipes and other dodgy and nappy-type aromas. Mum bucks her plane ticket home, and we all drive to Knock to wave her off. I'll never be able to thank you enough, Claire tells her. You've been a star, looking after the girls, keeping the cottage and the garden in order, running everyone up and down to the hospital, even keeping the internet soap orders ticking over. Thank you, Sarah. The 2 women hug, and I'm sure I see Mum wipe her eye. She must have a speck of dust in it. We really are grateful, Dad adds. We couldn't have managed without you. My pleasure, Mum sniffs. It was a holiday for me. Holly doesn't waste words, she just hurls herself at Mum and hugs her tightly, and then it's down to me. I look at Mum and I know that there's no speck of dust that could account for the fat, shiny tears running down her cheeks. "Sweetheart, I'll miss you," she whispers. "I'll miss you too." It feels like I'm being torn in two all over again, and even though it was Mum who sent me away to Ireland, it feels like we are sending her away now. She looks little and lost, standing in the airport check-in queue with one measly overnight bag and nothing and nobody to go home to. I fling my arms round her and hold her tightly. "I'm sorry, Scarlett," she says into my hair. "I'm so, so sorry for everything. I handled it all wrong, the breakup. I was a mess. I wasn't here for you. I'm sorry." "It doesn't matter," I murmur, "because it doesn't, not anymore. We both messed up, didn't we?" "Big style," Mum agrees. "It's a talent we have." "A skill," I agree. "But hey, we're learning, aren't we? We'll get through." "I love you, Scarlett," she tells me. "Always. Any time you want to come home, just let me know. It'll be different now, I promise you. We can work things out together. School, friends, rules. Can't we?" "Maybe, Mum," I tell her. "Maybe. Who knows? Maybe." I stay in Connemara until the end of summer. I watch my baby sister grow, see her cheeks flush pink from lying out in the garden on her patchwork quilt, kicking her legs. I watch her learn to focus her eyes, form her tiny rosebud mouth into a smile meant just for me. In the day I hook up with Roz and Matty and sometimes Kevin Fahey, the shy boy who wants to be a priest. He's no pin-up, no dream boy, but he's fun. He's a friend, and I need all the friends I can get. At night I lie awake talking to Holly. I listen to her chatter. I tell her about my day. I tell her again and again how lucky I am to have her and Hazel. "We're connected," I tell her, "bound together no matter what. Sisters, okay?" "Sisters," Holly sighs in the dark and slips into sleep. But when Dad starts talking about school again, I know it's time to move on. "You've made friends," Dad tells me. "You'll fit into the school in Westport, no problem now. The same way you fitted in with us. It's a terrific school, and you'll get the chance to really stretch yourself." "No, Dad," I say. "No?" he falters. "Well, I'm certain you'd have no problems, Scarlett. You're a different girl these days. The anger and the hurt and the fear, it's just gone, hasn't it? But if you'd rather stick with the homeschooling..." "I'm sorry, Dad," I tell him. "It hurts like crazy, but I know it's the right thing to do. I love you and Claire. I love Holly and Hazel. I love it here, more than anything. But I'm going home to Mum." I fall into London life as if I'd never left, except of course I'm different now and stronger. I've got nothing to prove. I march along the pavement from the tube station at the Angel, flat Mary Jane shoes kicking through the litter. My tights are bottle green, my skirt is knee-length and pleated, my green blazer trimmed with gold cord, adorned with an embroidered badge that says something in Latin about aiming high and reaching the stars. Luckily, green goes pretty well with ketchup red hair. My new school's strict, but I'm not fighting anymore, so that doesn't matter. I'm not a perfect grade A student, but I get good marks in English and art and history and drama, and I haven't wasted too much time in the head's office or the detention room. I've made some friends, real friends, the kind who'd never think of offering you ciggies in the school loo or daring you to nick an eye pencil from Boots. They're cool. Things are better with Mum and me too. She doesn't work such long hours these days, and we take time out to talk and find out what's going on with each other. We still lose it sometimes. We're both hot-tempered, I guess, but we're working on it. Seriously, it's a whole lot better. For my birthday, Mum got me the best present ever, a baby rabbit. I called her Smudge and she's a house rabbit. She gets to mooch around the flat and we've even trained her to use a litter tray. Dad called too and asked me what I wanted. And when I told him, he rang round a few places and found me riding lessons right here in the centre of London. It's not like riding bareback on midnight along the shores of Loch Coyle, but it's pretty cool all the same. I miss Dad and Claire and Holly and Hazel, but I'm going back at Easter and for part of the summer holidays too. I'm really looking forward to that. I miss Kian too, of course, and that is way harder. There was hardly a day over those 5 weeks that we didn't see each other. We talked, we laughed, we lazed around in the sun. We held hands and flirted, and once, just once, we kissed. A sad, lingering kiss that tasted of salt and tears. All I have to remember him are memories and a little black braided bracelet that stays on my wrist night and day. Sometimes I catch a glimpse of a boy who looks like Kian, the same wild black hair, the same scruffy chic clothes and lazy ambling stride. Then the boy turns round, and of course he's nothing like Kian. How could he be? It's like it never happened, and that is the toughest thing of all. Magic. Yeah, right. I turn into the driveway, crunch my way up the path and punch in the door code. I run up the stairs and onto the landing, and then it hits me suddenly. The smell of wild mint in London in December. It makes my heart race, it makes my throat ache. Outside the door to our flat is a pair of broken up old sandals, the scarily high wedge heels encrusted with moss. Lying against one sandal are a couple of tiny wild strawberries and a hazel twig with catkins and nuts on the same branch. A pair of faded, swirly sandals, curls of ivy where the ribbons should be. Strawberries in December, catkins and nuts on the same branch. Suddenly I am certain there's someone behind me. I whirl around, but there's nobody there, just the empty landing and the silent staircase and the lingering smell of wild mint. I pick up the sandals, the strawberries and the hazel branch, and I turn the key in the lock and go inside. So that's the end of the story. And I really hope that you will tune in tomorrow, maybe tell you a little bit more about the inspirations for the story. But I also want to thank you all for sticking with this and commenting and letting me know what you've been thinking as you've gone along. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and you've definitely helped me and given me some shape to my lockdown days. Tune in and I'll see you tomorrow for one last just little goodbye. Take care.